Well, that's an interesting question. You know, what kind of relationship does the Nez Perce Tribe have with the U.S. military? There was a mixed blood Nez Perce Delaware Indian that fought in the Civil War on the Union side. His English name became Tom Hill. I can't remember his Nez Perce name. Then he comes back and he joins up with Joseph here at Lolo Pass, or actually probably down there at Fort Fizzle, somewhere in this area. He joined up with Joseph, and he fought with Joseph against the U.S. Army, which he was formerly a member of. And then we have the Spanish-American War. We have one tribal member that served there. He was in the Philippines. And then World War II comes along. My father served in France in World War I. And about 12 other Nez Perces as well. And I think maybe 2 or 3 of them got killed, but I can't recall that right now. And so we were involved in all the wars that the United States were involved in since the Civil War. And then World War II comes along. And we have, I think, about 80 Nez Perce that served in World War II. And I have 2 older brothers that served. One was in the Army, the other was in the Navy. The one that was in the Army survived Omaha Beach. He said later, before he passed on, he said, all my friends in my platoon were getting killed all around me when he hit Omaha Beach. And the last story he told us, he was in a second wave on a landing craft with the personnel. He was in the second wave, and he said when that ramp went down, all the people that were in front were immediately killed. So he thought, well, I'll jump off to the side, and he did. Then he started to sink. He had to pack and a rifle, so he got out of his pack, dropped his rifle, and started to swim. And one of his members of his platoon got hit. And he grabbed his friend's arm and by the hand, and he started pulling him into the beach, which was several hundred yards away. He doesn't remember how he got to the beach, because things were going on all around him. But he got to the beach somehow, and he told his friend and his buddy, we made it. We made it. He pulls up him by the arm, and all he has is his arm of his friend. So he went through a pretty tough time. And then he was put in a mobile artillery unit. And he told about having artillery duels with the Germans. And people, again, he lost all of his buddies around the artillery unit. And he was in a second take going through the hedgerows. It was a mobile artillery on a tank chassis. And the driver or the sergeant who was in charge says, I got a radio problem. Can I stop and get my radio fixed? So they stopped and the other tanks went on. And all the other tanks were wiped out. That one tank was surviving. He went through 1 year of steady combat. And then he was put in this special unit trying to find Hitler. They went to Yugoslavia and I don't know where else, and he went back to France and he went back to Luxembourg, all over the place, looking for Hitler. They never found him. And when they counted points to get shipped back to the States after the war's ended, my brother had the highest points. They flew him back because he had one of the highest points in his whole unit. And of course he had PTSD really bad. So that was one brother. Then my next brother, next oldest brother, he was in the Navy, and He was in the Navy Guard. And he went to every Pacific port in the Pacific during World War II. Australia, New Zealand, United States, San Diego and all those ports. Then one thing he said, when I heard that they dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, I was at sea, and he just turned, I think, 21, I think. Or was going to be a year old. So he didn't see a lot of combat, but I'm sure he must have got in one of these convoy fights, And he was a 20 millimeter gunner and a 2 and 3 inch artillery pieces on board ship. And then he never got out until March of '46 because they had to he was looking for Japanese that surrendered or didn't surrender that were on islands. They had to go island to island to talk these Japanese that the war was over. And then they went through Panama Canal, and then they got a shipload of Germans to take back to Germany. And then they discharged him finally. And I have all kinds of cousins that were in Korea and Vietnam. And I joined up in 1956, got out in '58, but I served 1 year in Okinawa. And so I missed all the bad stuff. I was right after Korea and got out just before Vietnam. And my son Levi, he joined up when he got out of high school. He joined the Marine Corps. He said, "Dad, I want to join the same way you did." So he joined the Marine Corps. And he became a water purification technician. So he traveled all over he went to Japan and Thailand and I don't know, Australia. I don't know where he all went, but he went all over Korea. He went to Korea. And in my tour, I went to Okinawa, I went to the Philippines twice, I went to Taiwan once, went to Korea, so, and Hawaii. I went to Hawaii twice. So my grandfather was in 1877 war. His job was to watch the horses. And he survived the Big Hole battle, and because a lot of the children were orphans, he was chosen. He was 17 at that time. He was chosen, you take these 5 boys and you go back to Lapway. So they came from Big Hole through this country and went to Lapway. And they were pointed out, oh, those are the boys that were this Joseph. So they were arrested and sent to Vancouver, Washington, to the military base down there. Then they were sent to Oklahoma. And my grandfather spent 2 years in Oklahoma. And then he was exiled back and repatriated. And ironically, he comes back, and his father helped survey the Nez Perce reservation with Alice Fletcher during the Dawes Act, where the land was allotted to individual Indians. Now, my great-grandfather and my grandfather helped survey the reservation with Alice Fletcher.